This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview.
Well, hello and welcome back, of course, to another Research Talks here from Stockbox with Alan Green. It's good to be talking to you again, Alan. How are things?
Very good, Mark. How are things with you? You're I think going on holiday, or you've been on holiday. How was that?
Yes, Barbados. Indeed, depending on when this podcast goes out, I'll either have be still there or on my way. But yes, indeed, Barbados is a holiday that I'm having. The first holiday in 5 years, the first holiday since starting Stockbox. But that's what you get when you start a new business, isn't it? You don't really go away. I do think this time when I do go away, well, I'm not taking my shirt with me, put it that way. I'm not taking my formal shirt, so no interviews will be done by myself when I'm away, but no doubt my laptop will be not far away.
Sure. Yeah, well, we'll take a Bermuda shirt just in case. I'm sure no one would object to completing an interview with you in a Bermuda shirt.
Well, maybe it depends. I don't want to be doing an interview. In the sort of we're certainly with the state of some of the miners at the moment in sunny Barbados in a shirt. It might set the wrong tone. Might it? But anyway, it could happen. Who knows? It could happen. We could do with some buoyancy, I think, in the market, some lightheartedness. So anyway, but today we're going to cover a couple of companies. Blencowe, of course, we've covered before, who are doing really well there with the graphite, but a new company, Sealand, not new onto the markets, but certainly new in terms of what they're doing and turnaround, and their share price doing extremely well, based on, I think, what is anticipated to be a bit of a turnaround here. So we're going to start with Sealand. Alan, tell us what you've researched on Sealand.
So Sealand is it has actually been operating as a SPAC for the past year. The group is already engaged in e-commerce and mobile payment businesses and other IT businesses, and it's just really been operating, I think, for the past 6 months or 8 months as a cash shell. Certainly 6 months report the numbers to 30th of June, a loss of 163,000. That's a smaller number than the previous 6 months, which is 203,000. Revenues over that period of 71,000 versus 61,000 previously. So that the company has just been ticking over, not keeping the lights on, but of course seeking for an investment opportunity, which it has now found and executed on. The company announced in November that the number of changes were taking place. The company was seeking investment opportunities in the AI space. Of course, we've seen so many of those over the past few years, that companies that have come back to market as AI vehicles, and certainly the company has found an opportunity with a company called Evu, or Evu AI, and announced a conditional investment at that point. Provided a convertible loan note in 2 tranches with a number of conditions, and which included warrants that will be issued, and also right of share purchase warrants and other bits and pieces. I'm not going to go into the details of that, because that's fairly normal when these exercises take place. And then, of course, we get to the next point, where the company announced a broker placement to raise £170,000, and also a convertible loan facility of up to 3 million, which would attract a coupon of 12%, and the company would be able to draw on that facility at £500,000 per quarter until the FCA published, of course, the prospectus, which is now effectively been done. So January this year, things really started to move forward. All of the resolutions to complete the complete the transaction were announced at the AGM. So the company completed its investment into eVoo. And eVoo itself is a proprietary data platform with AI learning tools, but it's tailored specifically for the luxury goods sector. And within the platform, there is a flagship application called Olive, which is a luxury e-commerce marketplace, and features influencer curated boutiques. So we see all these amazing people on Instagram and other platforms promoting opportunities and products and how they use the products and make themselves look beautiful, or they promote luxury products that enhances their life. And through this, it offers and creates a personalized shopping experience for shoppers. So that's where we're at. The deal has been completed. The market really, really likes this deal. I mean, the share price has absolutely rocketed, of course. We're now seeing it sitting at 10p, which gives the company a market capitalization, well, it says here 89 million. I'm not sure that's correct, but certainly from where the share price was, it's rocketed in expectation of this deal and the opportunities and the revenue that's going to be created from that. So we're due to hear a lot more from the company in the coming weeks and months. There are also going to be, I think, some restructuring of the management team running the business. But certainly, it's been a very well executed transition thus far. It's a very exciting space. As we know, we've already seen the Priority AI IPO take place this year, and I think there'll be others following. But certainly, the eVoo IPO through Sealand Capital Galaxy looks to be one that warrants a lot of attention and a much closer look.
Indeed, I think a bit of a closer look. I think a few things might be happening with that company, as you've mentioned there. In short order, effectively. So yeah, good to see sort of life coming back to what was effectively a vehicle there, and want to keep an eye on, like you say, Alan. So thank you for that. I'm sure we'll be talking about them, throughout the course of this year. Okay, so let's finish off with Blencowe Resources. Now I know we spoke about Blencowe a fair bit, but doing pretty well, aren't they?
Well, they are, and a further significant step forward this January. So I'll just basically go over the background to the company. But this is the company owns it's listed currently trading at just under 4p, giving a market capitalization of 11.7 million, which is, compared to its peer group, frankly, is laughable. And I think we're going to see a major shift in valuation and a reset on the share price this year. So it owns Orran Cross, which is a tier 1 world-class graphite project in Uganda. And this initially took place as an RTO into a company a couple of years back. So Orran Cross it's a vast project, covers some 520,000 hectares, and the graphite is plentiful, and you can literally in some parts of some areas of some parts of the license area actually go and pull this stuff out of the ground because it's poking up through the soil. So you could go across it with a tractor and hoe and rake it up. So Blencowe have gone through the process of establishing a JORC mineral resource estimate, 24.5 million tons, and that's that at 6% total graphite content, and that's just 2% of the total license area. Now they have a 21-year mining license that was issued in 2019. All the permits are in place. Very strong government and ministerial support, and I think what differentiates this from so many projects. The US, a US government institution called the DFC, the Development Finance Corporation, provided a 5 million non-dilutive grant to the company, and that's come in to facilitate the completion of of course the initial PA, the PFS, and now the DFS, which we're in the final stages of, and the products have been proven premier grade end products in pre-qualifying test stages for the battery anode market. But the company is also different in its strategy, rather than just mining and selling the stuff to market, it's struck a joint venture with a company called Triessence, which is a leading spherical graphite and anode material producer. And they are actually going to establish and build a graphite beneficiation facility in Uganda. It's a 50-50 joint venture, and this will basically facilitate the rapid mining and manufacturing of spherical graphite for battery anode content. On the back of these developments, Cross has received full accreditation from the Mineral Services Partnership Forum. At the end of the year, the company also joined the European EV Consortium. And in November, it announced a significant expansion of the existing JORC resources and reserves there, with extensions to the Campbell deposits and also the Northern Syncline deposit. And the company said at that point it could substantially add to the JORC resource and enhance the DFS estimates. And after raising some money at the end of the year, literally straight after that, the company commenced a near 7,000 meter drilling campaign to complete the DFS, and also to update the JORC resource to support expanded mining operations at Cross. The infill drilling that took place there on existing deposits is designed to upgrade the resource base and reclassify the material there from inferred to indicated and measured, which of course is the requirement of the DFS. They've also identified a number of new high-grade targets. And part of the drilling campaign will also be what's referred to as geotechnical drilling, and this will map out pit slopes or pit slope parameters to assist with the mine plan. That is, in other words, to establish where exactly to put the mine decline and develop the mine. So as we've heard with other companies at this stage, of course, you've got Greatland Gold with the Havieron resource and basically building the mine decline. This is where we're at now with Blencowe. So it's a hugely exciting phase. Also, the company undertook further trenching and mapping work to identify future targets and upgraded the access roads to all weather. So once production is underway, then there won't be any restriction or delay in getting vehicles and material in and out of the area. And at the same time, it's also established a permanent resource camp 2. Now, all this, the company is valued at just 11.7 million. In my opinion, it should be, if you look at its peer group, I mean, Sovereign Metals, for example, I know has the asset in Malawi. It's a much bigger asset in many ways, but there's I think with Blencowe, the Cross graphite project is much further down the road, closer to production, and with the joint venture with Triessence to produce spherical graphite in country, I think we're going to see a transformation in the company this year in terms of its valuation, in terms of where it is in getting the product to market, and investors coming at this point, I think you're going to see some significant upside.
Excellent, good. Well, thank you, Alan. Yes, of course, I know we've been following Blencowe for a little while there, and of course the graphite element there being extremely valuable, particularly as we've also talked about Sovereign, haven't we, as well in the past, which of course has the graphite there, which is very, very much in demand for EVs and the green economy. So good to see things progressing with Blencowe there, and hopefully one day the valuation will be realised. But it is kind of a common symptom across the whole of the junior mining sector, really. They're significantly undervalued, as we said the other day, and
it is.
Hopefully, the bottom is nearly in. But anyway, thank you very much for your time, Alan. Do have a good weekend, and we'll catch up next week.
Thank you, Mark. You too.
Well, back again, of course, this week on the Research Talks podcast is Dan Flynn. Dan, how are you doing?
Doing well, thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me on again. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, it's good. Good to be talking to you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah, just keeping an eye on what we can look at in the markets. I know the mining sector for sure is still sort of struggling a bit. We're seeing a lot of discounted placings go ahead, and even some placings struggle to get away. But I've never seen it this bad in sort of over 10 years. I don't recall seeing this kind of level of discounted placings, or indeed placings not actually going ahead. So, yeah, one could say it's the bottom's got to be close if money's really tight. And hopefully we get a bit of a change of sea, whatever, when the administration starts get going in the United States. And yeah, we could do with a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, more kind of something to inspire or hope for. I think a lot of people, I feel it in sort of the Netherlands where I live, and I pick up in the UK. I don't know what you pick up on, but it's been a fairly bit of a tough few years, really. And people could do with a bit of a win, generally.
Yeah,
not just
you're
on the
right.
markets. I mean, in life.
You're right. I think markets could really do a bit of a shot in the arm, whether that comes from the US leading the way forward, or even the government here providing some support to markets to help making raising money a bit easier. It seems to be very tough at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. But so Cobra Resources is one that we're going to talk about. Of course, they've had some significant news recently, and they're moving down slowly and steadily through those different testing stages for their rare earth recovery there. So I don't think you've spoken to us about Cobra before, so just give us your take on it first of all.
No, I haven't. It's quite a new company to me. I've been researching it this week and just thought it'd be an interesting one to talk about. So the latest announcement from the company was that it's restarted stage 1 air core drilling at its Bowland rare earths discovery in South Australia after the Christmas break. So the company plans to complete this drilling in January, with results expected by February. And then, pending regulatory approval, it plans to follow that with 3 more stages of drilling, so 4 in total. The company said initial observations from what's been drilled so far are positive in terms of scale, thickness of mineralization, and geological conditions, and that's good. But what I think is exciting is that Cobra is rapidly moving towards the overall goal of its drilling program, all 4 stages that is, which is to define and support a resource estimate for rare earths mineralization. Specifically, rare earths mineralization amenable to scalable, low-cost, low-disturbance in-situ recovery, which I'll refer to as ISR from now on. So I thought we could take a step back and look at why that's important today.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so rare earth demand is forecast to multiply many times over in the next decade, and presumably further beyond that, thanks to its use in EVs and wind power specifically. However, at the moment, production and processing are dominated by China, and really dominated. A chart in Cobra's presentation shows that China controls around 90% of every stage of the supply chain and 67% of mining, despite making up a far smaller percentage of the actual use of these rare earths. This is because China has effectively mastered the process of low-cost ISR, so in situ recovery mining. And this is an absolute must, really, for rare earths to be produced profitably. But because it requires a particular mineralogy for this to happen, only a handful of rare earth mines are actually in operation outside of China right now. So the value of these projects outside China is clear. Not only is demand for the rare earths soaring, but nations around the world are chomping at the bit to secure supplies of critical metals that don't come from China. So whether that be domestically or from, an ally or a friendly trading partner. So these projects outside of China, along with any minerals they produce, will attract a premium. And this is where Cobra comes in. So South Australia is the only jurisdiction in Australia familiar with and supportive of in-situ recovery. It's been taking place there for decades. And Bowland, the discovery Cobra is currently drilling, is a large, highly scalable, high-grade rare earth deposit where mineralization has been already shown to be amenable to ISR mining. Bench scale studies towards the end of last year showed a high recovery rate of rare earths from samples taken from Bowland due to their excellent permeability. You can look at the RNSs for a more technical overview of why that's important. But specifically, Boland mineralization offers particularly high concentrations of what's known as heavy rare earths content, which is where a lot of the value of these rare earths comes from. So that all stands to be extremely attractive. And what Cobra has to do now is prove the scale and potential of discovery and optimize the recovery process. Now it's shown that amenability to ISR, and that's what it's doing. The drilling program underway at the moment and taking place over the coming months is geared towards producing a mineral resource estimate that's slated for the second half of the year. So the company is drilling 12,000 meters in total, and this is fully funded following a 1.7 million placing, which took place in November. And alongside this, Cobra is also completing more technical work geared towards optimizing the recovery of mineralization. It's targeting upfront capex of just 15% that of similar projects. So that, when we say low cost, we do mean low cost. So alongside drilling, Cobra's right now is precipitating a mixed rare earth carbonate from the results of last year's tests. This will be the first rare earth product it's actually produced using ISR from Boland. And the company thinks that'll be a major tick in the box for discussions with off-takers in the future. And once drilling is complete and that resource estimate is completed, Cobra plans to undertake a scoping study later this year as well. And I think when you take that scoping study and the carbonate area that I just spoke about, I think that's where things are really going to start getting interesting in terms of attracting development funding or even a potential takeover of the asset. So, because, with those, you've got that physical evidence of the project being attractive. It's really going to start meaning something to investors and third parties who want to add a rare earths asset to their supply chain. So I think in the meantime, results that continue to drive the project towards these goals, both from the drilling and the ISR work, should help to support growth in Cobra's valuation. It's currently 8.4 million. Nothing's guaranteed in this market, as we both know, Mark. You don't know how things are going to perform from day to day. But I think the size of Boland's, the demand for rare earths and the simplicity and low cost of the project and its production process means it's certainly worth keeping on the watch list. It's certainly on mine.
Okay, and what are the sort of the key, let's say, milestones you're looking out for? So, of course, the mineral resource estimate, you say second half of the year is a big milestone. What about the first half of the year? Is it really about these bench scale tests?
Yeah, I think you need to keep an eye out for the technical stuff from the ISR work, which is going to demonstrate, perhaps even higher rates of recovery. I think the company is really just optimizing there. I think the other thing to keep an eye out on is just ongoing drilling updates. I presume as they gather all this data in preparation for creating the mineral resource estimate, they'll be giving indications of how things are looking, whether there's any areas for expanding drilling and any new discoveries. And I think all of that is just going to add to the investment case for this project.
Do you know where they are, like sort of right now? Then is it still fine tuning, optimizing of in the lab because they want to get into a pilot study, don't they? I think on the ground.
Yeah, so I think perhaps that's what they're doing at the moment with this producing this concentrate. That area of the company is particularly technical. But I think they are moving towards that pilot plant because, like we were saying, showing that they can do that with like samples is what off-takers want to see. They want to see that, once this thing's producing stuff at a large scale, they can actually get something valuable can be taken from it.
From what I understand about rare earths, which is not a massive amount, but the metallurgy is extremely important to get that right, to make sure that you can actually get, like you say, the product at the end, the solution at the end that you need, that it is economical. I know Altona Rare Earths are really, all their efforts are on the metallurgy work at the moment before they're doing any further drilling, because there's no point proving up a resource if you can't get the metallurgy to work.
You're right. Yeah, and I think with Boland, what Cobra has is a high proportion of those heavy rare earths, and I think they're just trying to maximize the recovery of those.
So the project's
as valuable as possible.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's what we need to keep an eye on then. We haven't spoken to Rupert in a little while, but hopefully we can get a catch-up on how things are going there, because, those completing those tests and then indeed getting into the field, and they've already set up for it, from what I can recall, the holes are already there effectively. They just need to move it from the lab to the field and run that actual pilot plant in real time effectively, once they can get all the metrics in place that they need to apply in the field.
Definitely.
And that's going to be, and if they can do that in ISR, I mean, that's really good. Possibly even maybe I want to say potentially the only ISR rare earth operation globally. I don't know if I'm completely wrong on that.
I don't know if it's the only one, but it would definitely be one of the few. We say,
for sure.
It's all in China at the moment. So the demand for it is almost certainly going to be pretty high if they can get everything right.
Exactly. And as we know about ISR, it's sort of clean, it's low impact, it's a much nicer way of mining effectively. I know ISR's done with copper a fair bit in Australia, also uranium. Is processed through ISR. So the demand, rare earths, of course, the prices did struggle throughout the course of last year, really, but they're not going anywhere. I mean, I think as safe as any commodity can be, I think rare earths is one that is fairly. Yeah, it's certainly not. It's not had its let's say its lithium moment yet, for sure. Or its Bitcoin moment, let's say.
No, and I think pretty much at this stage, anything that's used that is pivotal to electric vehicles and green technology, like you say, is here to stay, isn't it?
Yeah,
surely
exactly.
Demand's only going to increase. Yeah,
exactly. Well, thank you, Dan, for your time as always.
No problem. Thank you, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.